Welcome to today's episode, where we share heartbreaking news about extraordinary American legends we lost in the last 24 hours on May 22, 2025. Join us as we pay tribute to their remarkable lives and legacies that shaped our world. Your support means everything. Please like, share, and subscribe to honor their memory and stay updated with our content. Let's come together to celebrate these icons and reflect on their impact. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin this solemn tribute. Jim Irsay. What kind of man takes a football team from obscurity to a Super Bowl, calls out the NFL's most controversial figures, and collects Jimi Hendrix's guitar like it's a casual hobby? That was Jim Irsay, the Indianapolis Colts' larger-than-life owner, whose story is as thrilling as it is complicated. Let's dive into the journey of a man who lived unapologetically, shaped a franchise, and left everyone talking. Born in 1959 in Chicago, Jim Irsay grew up under the shadow of his father, Robert, a business tycoon who scooped up the Baltimore Colts in 1972 for a mere $12 million. Jim was just a teenager, working training camps, soaking in the game, and learning the ropes. But in 1984, the Colts' world flipped. Robert made the infamous decision to move the team to Indianapolis overnight, a move that stunned Baltimore fans and sparked outrage. Jim, then 24, stepped up as the NFL's youngest general manager, thrown into a firestorm of controversy. And that was just the beginning. By 1997, Jim's life took another sharp turn. After his father's death, he fought a messy legal battle to claim full control of the Colts. At 37, he became the team's owner, ready to carve his own path. He wasn't just another suit in the NFL, he was bold, unpredictable, and fiercely passionate. Under his watch, the Colts transformed into a powerhouse. But what came next would cement his name in football history. Enter Peyton Manning. In 1998, Irsay's Colts drafted the quarterback who'd become a legend, leading Indianapolis to a golden era. From 1999 to 2014, the team made the playoffs 14 times, snagged 10 division titles, and won Super Bowl 41 in 2007 against the Chicago Bears. Irsay's gamble on Manning paid off, and his later bet on Andrew Luck kept the Colts competitive. He didn't just build a team, he turned Indianapolis into a football city, with Lucas Oil Stadium as its crown jewel since 2008. But there was more to Irsay than wins and trophies. Jim Irsay was never one to stay quiet. He made headlines in 2022 by publicly demanding the removal of Washington Commanders owner Dan Snyder, a move no other NFL owner dared to make. His ex-posts were a wild mix of rock lyrics, late-night musings, and unfiltered opinions, earning him both fans and critics. Some called him eccentric. Others saw a man unafraid to be himself in a league full of buttoned-up execs. But that wasn't the whole story. Behind the bravado, Irsay faced darker battles. He was open about his struggles with addiction, admitting to a near-fatal incident years ago where he stopped breathing after mixing drugs. In December 2023, reports surfaced of a suspected overdose at his Carmel home, where police found him unresponsive, barely breathing. Irsay survived, but he didn't hide from his past. Instead, he became a vocal advocate for mental health and addiction recovery, using his platform to push for change in the NFL and beyond. Yet, whispers of those struggles would follow him. Irsay's passions stretched far beyond football. A music lover at heart, he built one of the world's most jaw-dropping collections of rock and sports memorabilia, including guitars from Kurt Cobain and Bob Dylan. He even took his collection on tour with his band, sharing it with fans across the country. In 2023, he popped up in an unexpected place, a cameo in Netflix's American Prime Val, playing a role in a gritty Western series. It was classic Irsay, unpredictable, bold, and totally unique. But what happened next would shock everyone. On May 21, 2025, Jim Irsay passed away, at 65, reportedly in his sleep. The Colts announced the news, leaving the NFL world stunned. No official cause of death was shared, but ex-posts quickly buzzed with speculation, pointing to his past health scares. Just hours before, Irsay tweeted support for the Indiana Pacers, his final words ringing with pride for his city. Fans and players, from Peyton Manning to Reggie Wayne, flooded social media with tributes, calling him a generous, passionate owner who treated the Colts like family. And there's more to come. Irsay's legacy lives on through his three daughters, Carly Irsay Gordon, Casey Foyt, and Kaylin Jackson, who've been steeped in the Colts operations for years. Carly, a vice chair with a sharp business mind, is seen as a frontrunner to lead. Irsay made it clear the team would stay in the family, ensuring Indianapolis wouldn't face another relocation heartbreak. His philanthropy, from mental health initiatives to community support, left a mark as deep as his Super Bowl win. But questions linger about his final days and the challenges his daughters will face in a shifting NFL landscape. Jim Irsay wasn't just an owner, he was a force, a man who lived loudly, loved fiercely, and never shied away from the spotlight. His Colts brought glory to Indianapolis, but his personal battles and bold choices sparked endless debate. As fans mourn, some wonder, will his daughters carry his vision forward, or will the NFL's changing tides reshape the Colts' future? What do you think Irsay's legacy means for football? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep the conversation going. Billy Williams. What makes a movie stick with you long after the credits roll? Is it the story, the actors, or something deeper? Something you can't quite name, but feel in every frame. That magic often comes from a cinematographer's lens, and one man, Billy Williams, mastered it like few others. His work on films like Gandhi, on Golden Pond, and The Exorcist didn't just capture stories, it brought them to life in ways that still leave audiences in awe. Let's dive into the journey of a man who shaped cinema history, one frame at a time. Billy Williams was born in 1929 in Walthamstow, England, a place far from the glitz of Hollywood. His father, a documentary cameraman, introduced him to the world of film at just 14. Imagine a teenager lugging heavy camera equipment, learning the ropes on industrial and educational shorts. Those early days weren't glamorous, but they taught Billy how to tell stories through light and shadow. He wasn't just following his dad's footsteps, he was already carving his own path. And what came next would set the stage for a legendary career. By the late 1950s, Billy got his first real shot with a short documentary called The Birthday Party. It was a small project, but his knack for framing emotion caught eyes. This wasn't just a cameraman doing a job, it was an artist finding his voice. That little film opened doors, leading him to bigger sets and bolder stories. But the road to greatness wasn't always smooth, and Billy's next steps would test his grit in ways he never expected. In 1969, Women in Love hit theaters, and Billy's work turned heads. Directed by Ken Russell, the film was daring, raw, and visually unforgettable. Billy's cinematography made every scene pulse with intensity, whether it was a quiet moment or a fiery confrontation. Critics raved, and audiences couldn't look away. His ability to blend bold colors with raw emotion put him on the map as a cinematographer who didn't just shoot scenes, he created worlds. But an even darker challenge was waiting just around the corner. Fast forward to 1973, and Billy found himself on the set of The Exorcist. Rumors swirl even today about how grueling that shoot was. Some say the crew worked under intense pressure, with technical glitches and long hours pushing everyone to the edge. Billy, as one of the cameramen, had to capture horror in a way that felt real, but never overdone. Fans on X still talk about how his work made those chilling scenes hit harder, with shadows and angles that turned fear into art. But what happened next would cement his name in history. In 1982, Gandhi swept the world, and Billy's lens was at the heart of it. Working with director Richard Attenborough, he and co-cinematographer Ronnie Taylor crafted visuals that felt both epic and intimate. From sprawling crowd scenes to quiet moments of reflection, every frame was a masterpiece. Their work earned them an Oscar, and it's no wonder why. Billy's ability to make history feel alive is still studied by filmmakers today. But there was another side to his genius, one that shone in a very different kind of story. Just a year earlier, in 1981, Billy worked on Golden Pond. Unlike the grand scale of Gandhi, this film was deeply personal, focusing on family and loss. Billy's cinematography turned serene lakes and golden sunsets into characters of their own, amplifying the emotional weight of every scene. Fans still post on X about how those visuals made them tear up, with one user saying, "It's like Billy painted love and regret with light." His work didn't just support the story, it became the story. But how did he leave such a lasting mark? Billy's legacy stretches far beyond his films. As a member of the British Society of Cinematographers since 1967, and its president from 1975 to 1977, he shaped how films were shot. Some speculate he quietly mentored young filmmakers, though details are scarce. Recent posts on X claim his techniques influenced modern directors, with one user noting, "Every time you see a perfectly lit scene, you're seeing Billy's shadow." While these claims aren't fully verified, they show how his work still sparks conversation. He retired in 1996, but his influence never faded. Billy passed away in 2025 at 95, leaving behind a body of work that still inspires. So, what makes a film unforgettable? It's the vision of people like Billy Williams, who turned light into emotion and stories into memories. His work on Gandhi, on Golden Pond, and The Exorcist didn't just win awards, it changed how we see movies. Next time you watch a film that hits you in the gut, ask yourself, is there a bit of Billy's magic behind it? His story reminds us that the greatest artists don't just create, they leave a spark that lights up the future. Marthe Cohn. What kind of courage does it take to walk straight into the heart of Nazi Germany, knowing one wrong move could end your life? Meet Marthe Cohn, a 4'11" Jewish nurse from France who did just that. At 24, she became one of World War II's most daring spies, slipping behind enemy lines to outsmart the Nazis and save countless lives. Her story, hidden for decades, is a jaw-dropping tale of grit, loss, and defiance that'll leave you wondering, could you do what she did? Let's dive into the incredible life of a woman who turned her pain into power. Marthe Hoffnung was born in 1920 in Metz, a French city so close to Germany you could feel the tension across the border. Growing up in an Orthodox, Jewish family with 6 siblings, she learned early on what it meant to stand out. Metz had been fought over by France and Germany for decades, and by the time Marthe was a teenager, Hitler's shadow was creeping closer. Antisemitism wasn't just a headline, it was personal. She saw the synagogue of Metz defaced, a chilling sign of what was to come. But Marthe wasn't one to sit still. Her family helped Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi persecution, hiding kids, and guiding them to safety. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of her fight. But what happened when the war hit her family directly? In 1942, the Nazis tightened their grip, and Marthe's world shattered. Her older sister, Stephanie, was arrested by the Gestapo. Marthe tried to organize an escape from a French internment camp, but Stephanie refused, fearing it would doom the rest of the family. She was deported to Auschwitz on Yom Kippur, never to return. If that wasn't enough, Marthe's fiancé, Jacques Delaunay, a brave resistance fighter, was shot by the Nazis in 1943. These losses didn't break her, they lit a fire. Marthe wasn't just grieving, she was ready to act. But how does a young nurse become a spy for the Allies? By 1944, Paris was liberated, and Marthe saw her chance. She joined the French First Army, initially as a nurse. But her fluent German and blonde, blue-eyed appearance caught the attention of intelligence officers. At a time when men couldn't blend into Nazi Germany without raising suspicion, women like Marthe were the perfect secret weapon. They gave her a new identity, Marthe Ulrich, a German nurse searching for her missing fiancé. It was a brilliant cover, but it came with a catch. Every step she took in enemy territory could be her last. And what she did next would change the course of the war. Picture this: a 24-year-old woman, barely 5 feet tall, crossing the Swiss border into Nazi Germany after 14 failed attempts. Marthe, now Marthe Ulrich, walked among German soldiers, spinning a story about a lost love to gain their trust. She listened, observed, and charmed her way into secrets that saved lives. Her biggest coup: discovering the Germans had abandoned the Siegfried Line, a massive defensive fortification, and uncovering a planned ambush in the Black Forest. She relayed this intel to the Allies, helping them outmaneuver the Nazis. Every conversation was a gamble, every moment a brush with death. But there's a twist: her heroism stayed hidden for decades. For over 50 years, Marthe didn't breathe a word about her missions. Not to her husband, not to her kids. Why? The intelligence service trained her to keep secrets, and she doubted anyone would believe a tiny Jewish woman could pull off such feats. She moved to the US, married an American doctor named Marthe Cohn, and settled in Palos Verdes, California, working as a nurse anesthetist. It wasn't until her 80s, when France began honoring her, that she started to speak. And when she did, the world listened. But what finally brought her story to light? In 1999, Marthe was awarded France's Médaille Militaire, a prestigious honor that shocked even her family. They had no idea their quiet mother was a war hero. Spurred by her brother's encouragement, she co-wrote Behind Enemy Lines in 2002, a memoir that reads like a thriller. A 2019 documentary, Chichonette, The Accidental Spy, brought her story to the screen, earning praise for its raw honesty. Marthe traveled the world, speaking to students and communities, sharing a message that resonates today: be engaged and follow your conscience. When she passed away in May 2025 at 105, posts on X lit up with tributes, calling her a symbol of resilience. But there's one question that lingers. Marthe's story isn't just about bravery, it's about what it means to carry the weight of history. She lost her sister, her fiancé, and years of her life to silence, yet she never stopped fighting for what was right. Some wonder how she endured the emotional toll, or how her family managed to survive with resources during the war. Others marvel at her ability to pass as a German, raising questions about identity and survival. Her advice to young people: stand up, act, and never compromise your values, feels more urgent than ever in a world facing new conflicts. So, what would you do if you were in Marthe's shoes? Her life challenges us to find our own courage, to act when it counts, and to never forget the power of one person to change history. Share your thoughts below, and let's keep her legacy alive.